Hi everyone, welcome to our flipped classroom. We're taking it digital. To be able to do this lesson today, you need your decimal printouts. So if you don't have them, pause the video, click on the link below and print them out and bring them back. Here we go. Decimals are all around us. You might look at this picture and recognize them. Prices, linear measurements, statistics, a portion of time. And the big thing to know is that they are smaller than a whole. So here we have 3/10, 89 hundredths, or they can also be in combination with a whole number. So here we have 7 and 2/10, 19 and 99 hundredths. Or if you've seen this as a price, you might be thinking $19.99. And we've seen the place value chart before. We know that we have a repetition of ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 10 millions, 100 millions, and it continues. And we know that as we go further along, the quantities get bigger. When we talk about decimals, we're actually talking about quantities that are smaller than a whole. So our pattern still continues: ones, tenths, hundredths. So this right here, the decimal spot, tells us that we're getting smaller than 1. And you'll notice that I emphasize the th because this is also telling me that I'm in quantity smaller than 1. Sometimes people will call this a point, but it's actually decimal, or when I'm reading out the decimal, I can say the word and. And here we go. There's our 100 flat, our 10 rods, and our ones. And our decimal spot again is showing us that we're leaving whole numbers and getting into parts of a whole. So if we look with a magnifying glass, what we're doing is we're taking this 1 right here and we're splitting it into 10 parts. And this is what one of those parts would look like. So right here, I've got 2/10. I'm saying the ths to emphasize that it's smaller than a 1. It's not a 10, it's a 10th, even though it looks exactly the same. And hundredths, this is 1 part of 100th, which we would need to make this. So if we look at our 1 really, really closely, it looks like this, and we need 100 of them to make 1 whole. Let's make it clear. Okay, here's my 1 whole. If I take my 1 whole and split it up into 10 parts, it would be called a tenth. Each of these are a tenth. So 1 whole, we have less than a whole this time. We've only got 7 colored in, so that means we have 7/10. This is what it looks like as a fraction, and here's how we write it down as a decimal. We have no whole yet, we have 0 and 7/10. And here it is again. So if I was to ask you to get that those place value printouts that you have and color in 3, you could do it like this: 3/10. I would say it like this: 0 and 3/10, but it also could be represented like this. It doesn't matter if they're together or not. They could be separated. The amount that's shaded is still 3/10. So let's have you try it on your own. Grab those printouts, and I want you now to shade in for me 5/10. Go ahead and do that. Okay, this is what you might have shaded in. You might have shaded 5 in a row. That works. That is 5/10. Or maybe you split it up and you had 5/10 like this. It really doesn't matter. You could have done 3 of them and then the other 2 over there. As long as the amount represented is 5/10, then you have it. All right, let's try another one. Let's do 7/10. Again, you could have done it like this, just like in that example I showed you, or maybe you split them up and you did a different combination. As long as 7 out of 10 were colored in, then you have it.